Now, some people complain to me that that this car looks too much like an A7, that it's hard to detect which one is which. And sure as God, it does actually fit in between the A4 and the A6. So it's not an A7. But from the side, yes, I do agree. The pillarless doors and things all make it look a bit like an A7. But the critical difference is that the A7 is more of a kind of a GT car, sort of a long distance sort of cruiser, you know, and it has that sort of rock star feeling about it, whereas the A5 is much more sporty. And that was one of the big complaints about this car when it came out first, that the ride and the handling wasn't very good in it. So Audi have done a lot of work. They've changed engines, they've done a lot of different things to this car to make it feel more sporty. This one's powered by one of the most refined engines I think Audi actually does, which is the 2-litre 177 brake horsepower unit that I seen for first time in the Audi A4 earlier. I think it was this year, or maybe it was last year, when I was over in Portugal with them. And it is so refined, it's so quiet, it pulls well in every gear. It's so quiet when you get out on the motorway and go for cruising. It's just spot on. Superb car. Superb engine. Now, the A5 is much more sporty. Very low seating position. You're right behind the steering wheel, so there's no feeling of I'm sitting in a hatchback of any kind, even though this one is actually the Sportback. It has driving modes in it as well. I have a little drive select button down here beside me that I can pick from efficiency, comfort, auto and dynamic, so I can get the whole lot of them done. Now here we are at 120 kilometers an hour. Just going to put the cruise control on just to show you. There you are, 120. It's so quiet, I can't hear the engine at all. It's a very, very faint rumble away out in front of me. That engine, spot on, is really good. Good torque out of it. Good run out of it, about 250 newton meters of torque. Really, really, really spot on engine. Now, the A5 has always been a kind of a funny creation because it never quite fit in with the rest of the range. And in that respect, what I mean by that is that there's the A5 Coupe and the A5 Sportback, but relatively speaking, this is about the size of an A6. But the difference being that this one has 5 doors on it, and the Coupe obviously only has 3 doors on it. Now you get the same massive boot in this one as you do in the A7. It's absolutely huge inside there, and you have acreage of bonnet out in front of you as well. Plus, the cabin's quite large, as cabins go. There is 5 seat belts in it. You will get just about 5 people into it, but 4 is very comfortable. Leg room in the back is a little bit on the tight side, but I can kind of live with that because realistically, you know, how often do you carry large adults on the back of your car? But if you make that a regular occurrence, you may want to look at the A6, which has acres of space on the back. And this one, of course, comes with the new nose, the new front and the new headlamps that come out of Audi recently. So you have those kind of wraparound curly headlamps, and they're really, really pretty. The whole car is very pretty. I like the dashboard layout. It's the new one again that you'll find in the A4. It kind of wraps around the driver. Everything's slightly canted towards me. It's easy reach for the passenger as well, but everything is just ever so slightly pushed my direction. and I really like that because it puts every sort of button just at my fingertips. Even without lifting my hand off the gear stick, I can touch anything I want basically in the whole MMI system and in the air conditioning system. This one is tri-zone climate control, so I have a digital readout here in the front, and there's 2 manual switches in the back to be able to change the air conditioning system in the rear as well, who have their own vents. The back of my seat gets seat protectors as well. I quite like that because it means the kids can't push their feet into my spine, but they can obviously kick the back of the seat, but they can't push their feet in. I also have auto lights, auto wipers, cruise control, and a manual 6-speed box, which is a delight. Quite honestly, when you drive enough automatics, you begin to want to get back to your manual basics, and the manual in this Audi manual is just beautiful. It's very notchy, very straight into every gear. There's no vagueness about it at all. It does give that sporty feeling to the whole thing. The colour dashboard readout is really nice. It tells me my kilometres per hour, it tells me my average fuel consumption, the outside temperature, what gear I'm in, how many kilometres I've done on a trip computer, what radio station to listen to, all at a glance. All of that is at one glance. It's all just a series of numbers on the screen, and it's easily readable. You can actually flip the screen, you can see how long you've been travelling for, how many kilometres left till empty, how many kilometres you're going to come, the average speed you've been doing. The whole show is there. The A5 is insanely good on a motorway. When you're cruising along like I am right now, I'd happily cruise to the south of France, find out I've forgotten my sunglasses, just turn around and come home. No problem. So to sum it up, close it off, it's bigger than an A4, it's a little bit smaller than an A6. It is the mighty A5. It is currently in your showroom, so you'll see it just there in any Audi showroom at the moment, and the Audi specialists. Tax is in tax band A. This 2-litre version is, this 2-litre diesel version is in tax band A, especially in the manual. Manuals are always slightly better CO2 emissions than a diesel, than an automatic. Prices start in the kind of low 30s and work their way up into, well, as with Audi, with options, you can, the sky's the limit, so to speak. But this one here is about €44,000, and quite honestly, I love it. I really do like it. I think it's definitely a proper sporty feel to the whole car, and it looks the part as well. It's nice and impressive. It's nice to get one of the test cars in silver rather than black, or one of the darker colours. Silver colour is quite an impressive colour to see. LEDs and LED front lights are optional, so bear that in mind, that what you see on the video you'll have to pay a little bit extra for. But other than that, it's one of the nicest cruising Audis I've driven this year, but a cruising Audi with that sort of sporty edge to it, and I like that. I really like that.